You can begin again. Let your day begin. Chasing my dreams, making things a reality. 'Cause I know that nothing can stop me. It's a brand new day. I have a smile on my face. 'Cause I know about His love and grace. Yeah. 'Cause I know that it's a brand new day. Living my life, trying to love everybody right. 'Cause I know that it's a brand new day. Got my sword and my shield. Oh, baby, we gonna win. 'Cause I know that it's a brand new day. It's a lovely day, lovely day, oh lovely day, lovely day. 'Cause I know that it's a brand new day.
What's up, CoreofU fam? It's another Friday. We hope that you're doing good. It's Ken and Bianca here. We hope that everything is going well, that you are healthy, that you're surrounded with love, and most importantly, that you have peace in your heart and in your home. We're not going to be long before you today. We thank you for the ones that just continually support and to join us. But we wanted to have a discussion today about intimacy. And most of the time when you think about intimacy, most fellas think physical intimacy in relationships. Most ladies, females, they think mental intimacy, mental or spiritual. And those are both great aspects of intimacy. But we want to talk to you about an aspect of intimacy that most people don't discuss. Most people don't talk about. They just kind of go through it blindly. And that aspect of intimacy is financial intimacy. Financial intimacy in a relationship is so very vital and important to a relationship that it's so vital that there are marriages that break up for lack of financial intimacy, for lack of communication about finances. And I'll have to be honest with you, I'm the spender. I'm the big spender. So today is not about, today we're not going to be your financial consultants, but we just want to talk to you about the importance of financial intimacy in your relationship. And I will be 100% transparent. Bianca has helped me with this in this area because she's so good with finances. And she has helped me with this. So I'm going to let her kind of discuss with you what that looks like. What does that mean? What is financial intimacy, babe?
Well, first, finances are something that a lot of families may not openly discuss. So base that on what you come into any scenario with and how you deal with your finances. How you deal with finances is going to largely center around what that was dealt with within your home, how that was addressed within your home. So first, were you exposed to having a bank account early? Were you exposed to having a budget? When you come into a scenario, you're an individual. So individually, how do you manage your finances? Do you fly by the seat of your pants, or do you ride with a budget more so? So that's number one. And then when you're in the dating phase, if you are hoping to translate into a partnership or a life partnership or some kind of union that is going to be permanent, you do need to know what the other person is bringing to the table in that area, both as an asset and a liability. And it doesn't mean that you're going to maybe not go forward with somebody based on what their sheet looks like, their financial sheet. However, it will allow you to make what I like to say informed decisions.
Right.
So I won't say that there is a right and a wrong time to introduce that into the conversation. I don't think there's a too soon time to talk about what are your financial goals? Because you can talk about that without going deep. But at dating, at some point, you will need to know what that FICO score looks like. You will need to know, is this person coming in off of bankruptcy or building their credit? Are they coming in, as a stronger partner? Those might be uncomfortable conversations, but we had those early on in our courtship before we even became married, because we both had financial pasts that were important and made us astute in that area. It made us more aware. It made it something that we did want to talk about. Now, fast forward to when you're already in the relationship. You need to be aware of what I would call financial spending in the way of self-soothing, especially right now with stress levels so high. People are getting these, some people are getting checks and additional income because of the state the economy is in. But there is a tendency to spend in a way that's not healthy when you're under stress. So make sure you check yourself and you're not splurging as a way, like online spending, nervous spending, as a way to self-soothe and stress. And then where that plays into a relationship is if you find yourself sneaking packages in the house or hurrying up to get home to get that Amazon package off the porch or out of the mail before your significant other sees it, that's something that's telling you, wait a minute, I am actually keeping secrets in the finance area from my partner. And you may not look at it as the same level of infidelity, natural infidelity, but financial infidelity can open up a door that leads to an Achilles heel in the relationship, because
lack of trust.
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say. And also, you have to be able to trust that your partner won't get the whole union in a situation that could financially take you under by lack of disclosing your decisions. And what does that mean? We decided early on that we were going to keep our separate accounts but still have one joint savings. But even with our own separate money, we discussed financial decisions over a certain amount, just because it could affect one another's ability to make moves down the road. If you think that I have a certain amount of money saved and then you come to me 10 months from now and I'm down to zero because I didn't tell you I made these moves over here, that can lead to the breakdown of a relationship, because you start to say, well, why didn't I know this?
Right. And
don't think that that's automatic. If you don't set those rules in place, especially as you move from being single into dating, and then from dating into like a lifetime partnership or a marriage, it's not going to happen automatic. Like, we had to have a rules of engagement discussion where we literally said, purchases over a certain amount, even if it's with your own money, we bring those to the table.
No doubt.
We did it today, right?
Yeah.
You called me from the store.
Yeah, and sometimes, and fellas, a lot of times we, because we make money and we go to work and we work hard, and you should be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So it's not, don't look at it as, oh, she's keeping tabs on me or he's keeping tabs on, her. Just look at it as a mutual respect for one another. And that's why we call it financial intimacy, because the intimate part is, this is something that you share as a union. You spend differently in a relationship than you do when you're by yourself.
That's right.
You should. Let's say that. You should. You have to think about, the other person. You have to think about what's going on with your home, if you have that. If you have whatever your responsibilities are, you should look to spend differently. And that is a conversation that you want to have early on in your relationship. You really want to talk about it. It's uncomfortable. Sometimes it may get you upset. Sometimes you may have to go to your different corners and take a break and then come back. But it is a conversation that you must have of how you're going to handle and divvy up the finances in your home to make sure that you are both successful. If one is a spender, which I'm more of a spender. Wifey is more save and thrifty. We have to talk about it and we have to discuss. The great part about it is, once I get her out there and spend and we go on vacation, then it's hard for me to get her home. Then she wants to stay forever. Then so we just have to talk about it. We have to love one another and respect one another enough to know that that is an important conversation, discussion that should be had between the two of you. And if you can't find common ground, maybe you will need to bring in a financial consultant or someone like that is very good with it, that has gone down that road and knows the ins and outs and the ups and downs, and maybe they can help you both find common ground so that your relationship can be successful. Because you can have love, and you can have the sex, and you can have the stimulation mentally, and if the finances isn't right, it will cause friction in those other areas.
Well, they say no romance without finance.
Right.
And let me tell you something. I'm going to give fellas like an insight, or the male-spirited person in a relationship, because women crave security. Mm-hmm. And when the finances get shaky because of lack of communication or lack of trust, like say there's someone prone to just quit jobs and not discuss it with the other person. Mm. That makes you feel like you're on shaky footing.
Right.
I've even felt that way in roommate situations.
Right.
So you don't even have to be in a relationship. When you're in partnership with someone and your decisions are tied to them, you owe it to come to the table and make joint decisions together so that you're moving as a unit. So my main takeaway there is, no matter who the breadwinner is, the decision should be joint, so that everyone feels empowered in the relationship.
No doubt.
And I mean, maybe that other person, one way or the other, doesn't want to be involved in the decisions, but at least they should be able to say that.
Right.
Okay, you want to buy a new car? Actually, I have no interest in that. Go ahead.
Right.
You do it. But to just come home with a new car or a new big purchase, that can really start to chip away and make someone feel unimportant, like their opinion doesn't matter, and like they're not being seen. And another thing, the attorney in me, the planner in me, you need to know, everyone should know passcodes on accounts. You should know the state of what your affairs are. You need to know, even though like he handles the mortgage, I should still know if the mortgage is being paid or not.
Right,
I shouldn't just assume. I shouldn't. It shouldn't be that I'm left in the dark and not know how to access the accounts. And that's from just stuff happens. People get taken out, hospitalized, incapacitated unexpectedly. And if you don't know the passwords and how to access all those accounts and the state of affairs, you can be left in a detrimental situation unnecessarily.
Wow.
So this is a partnership, a union, and though I don't need to do your job and you don't need to do my job, we should be communicating, at least have enough competency to be able to pick up where the other one left off if we ever need to.
No
and
doubt.
To feel empowered and trusting. Because the last thing, a woman will shut down physically if she doesn't feel safe in her relationship. And I think, does that go for men? You tell me.
Yeah, I mean, well, we definitely want to make sure we feel secure and be able to, we want to, be free and make sure we're handling things. So I think if you have those conversations and it feels good to know that I can go and pay, and that you feel good and you feel safe, and that I'm handling things and handling business, and you don't have to be nagging all the time, worried about what's right, what's wrong, did you pay this? So it's up to us fellas to make sure that we build that trust as well. You have to make sure you build that trust, so then she's not checking on you all the time, because Bishop, one of my mentors, my late mentor, Bishop Cox, he would say, romance without finance is a nuisance.
Right. So, I mean, you can't leave it out the equation. No matter
cannot.
where you slice it, you're going to have to, if you plan on going to that next level with someone and translating into partnership,
right.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be marital partnership, but buying a house together, getting in business together, you have to be able to talk about where you're at with finances. What are your goals? What's your 6-month plan, your 1-year plan,
your 5-year, right?
Exactly. And we actually do it. It may feel boring, but let me tell you this. A lot of couples won't even know, if you poll them, how much things cost that are in the wheelhouse of the other person. So case in point, if the man is the one that's always going grocery shopping, ask the wife, how much does milk cost now?
Right.
How much does steak, especially during COVID?
Right.
How much does toilet paper cost?
Right.
They may not know because they don't do the shopping.
Right.
Or if the woman is the one over all of the children or pet costs.
And then if the roles reverse automatically, all of a sudden you become sticker shock because you're like, wait a minute, I didn't know milk was this expensive. When was the last time a dozen eggs cost this much? So you become sticker shock, not knowing because you haven't communicated that.
Exactly. Or you may not have a handle on how much your extracurricular activities cost. So for instance, a man, he may love to go to the golfing range, but he may not realize it's costing you $500 a month to do this golfing, because the bill payer could be the other person who's like, these are your tee-off fees, this is what it costs every time you do this. So it's just, you get to have a more holistic view when you come to the table. And we might reset quarterly, we are each responsible for our finances and the bills we pay, but we do come together. Like for instance, when COVID started, jobs started cutting salaries and things started getting tighter, that was a good time to come to the table and talk with your roommate, your significant other, or even do a self-assessment on your finances.
Right.
If I need to do a 20% cutback immediately because jobs are doing that, how would I do it?
Right.
You know, how do I want to tighten the belt? Are you watching your 401k? Are you monitoring things just to see where you're at, like a financial checkup? At minimum, you should be doing it once a year.
That's right.
That's how you do your body.
Right.
But as a couple, whenever something major is happening, or in the world or in your life, come to the table, talk about it, because that's how you get to know one another and your styles, and you build trust, you build communication. And I'll tell you, I'm one that used to, I can get real nasty behind this topic, and we would have to like set a day and both be like in our Zen space, because you can't just catch me off the cuff and start talking about something, because it's a trigger for me. Like finances are a trigger for me, and that is, I have had to do a lot of spiritual work in that area, and I believe it's because being young in my life and having a situation change so suddenly, it brought in insecurity in that area for me. And so when money comes up, I would urge you to pay attention on how you even physically feel, because you can have a physical response to finances, because it is something that is an aspect of survival for all of us. Like even right now, that's a source of stress for people.
Right. And so I think that's good. I mean, we just wanted to talk to you today about that aspect of intimacy. Once again, for those of you just getting on, we're talking about financial intimacy in a relationship. And if you might not want to use the word intimacy if you have a partnership with somebody, but communicating properly and healthily about your finances is so important. It's so vital to the success of your relationship, of your friendship, of your partnership with the business partner, whatever's going on. But most importantly, when you're in a relationship, speaking over and talking about finances is such a pivotal thing in your life. And I know we got my little brother on here, Rashad. He is he is great with his finances, and he does video. I watched him do a video the other day about finances, and I really gained a lot and learned a lot from his video talking about finances. And it's just important. It's important. Fellas, most of the time we're not into that. We really don't care, but it's important that both people come to the table. Both people in a relationship, in a business partnership, come to the table and communicate about your finances.
And if you are the stronger partner in this area, in whatever dynamic we're talking about, from roommates to relationship to business, please don't make the person that you're in partnership with feel less than.
Yeah.
You cannot come to the table in a condescending manner.
Right.
You have to really be careful, because this is an area where people are not used to being transparent. What do I mean? You don't openly talk to your colleagues at work about what you make.
That's right.
You don't go into a relationship with people and talk about what you make. Usually
Not immediately,
that
yeah.
comes down the road, because
Right.
people are just guarded. That is like how this Western civilization operates.
That's right.
So you have to go to great lengths to kind of go beyond those barriers and bridge those conversations, and don't disenfranchise the other person and make them shut down, because if they don't feel safe, they'll shut down.
And if you're and like you were talking about it earlier, if you're the one who makes more than the other, you really have to be careful in that area, because the person who makes more sometimes will feel that since they carry maybe more responsibility or make more money, then they're the sole decision maker.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's not fair to the other person. Now, if you've communicated that in the beginning, and that's how you want it to be, and that's how your relationship is going to be, then fine, so be it. But most of our relationships aren't going to be that way. You want to be able to have some say-so over some things that go on. And if you're really, really healthy and doing it right, you both should have a 50% say-so as you move forward in everything that you do. Even if you decide in that instance, like Wifey was saying earlier, I'm going to give up my say-so in this because I'm really not concerned about that. If you want to go, clothes shopping or something, fine, you deserve it, do it. I don't care. I don't really care what you spend. Well, then at least you've given up that right to be able to have your say-so, right? You have the option. But if Wifey just walks in with, all of these bags, and we haven't discussed it and talked about it at all. Matter of fact, I didn't even know you were out shopping.
Right.
That could bring levels of you could start to lack trust in that other person and their decision making. So when really important things start to come up, then you're like, wait a minute, I don't know if I can really trust you. And we all know that a relationship must have trust. It must have trust. Most successful relationships are based on trust. And yeah, Rashad said both parties understanding the finances is key. So important.
You should at least have
learning.
a basic understanding of what's going on, even if that's not your forte.
Right.
Because, like I said earlier, stuff happens, and you may need to step in and become the person paying the bills.
That's right.
And making the decisions and doing that work in that area. And
so, once again, I'm going to say this again because I think it's so important. It doesn't matter how, we all adults on here. It doesn't matter how good the sex and all of that is. It doesn't matter how good the other person looks. It doesn't matter if you guys have great conversations and, you love going on dates and all of these things. At some point in time, if you look to be in a relationship with somebody, you're going to have a conversation about money, about finances, about spending, about saving, all aspects of money. You're going to have that conversation. Because
if just having a lot of money could keep people together, we wouldn't see so many rich people getting divorces.
Wow.
So it's not about just having the money.
There
either.
you go.
And let me say this, because it came up when you were talking about dating. Your dating spend may look different when you convert into like a live-in relationship, a long-term relationship. So be conscious about what kind of habits you're forming or expectations you're setting that you may think, okay, I'm not going to do this no more once we marry. So what do I mean? If the man is always paying for the dates. Right?
Okay.
And then, so it's like that, not only can that get very expensive, but how does that translate into a long-term relationship?
Right.
Is there now an expectation that he's going to pay all the bills?
Right.
Or if a woman is used to being kept or used to having that kind of expectation, and you really think once you get into a long-term relationship, she should start going in half. See, these are the types of things people don't think to talk about. They're just like, let me seal the deal. We'll work that out later.
Yeah.
But then you can kind of feel like a bait and switch thing going on.
Right.
Or a man might feel disrespected, or a woman might feel disrespected if you don't let her pay. So these kind of things have to be kind of worked through.
You don't want to get catfished in the finance department. That's basically what we're saying. You don't want to get catfished in the finance department because it's so important. That's all we're trying to say today. And if you're already there, kudos to you.
Keep doing it.
Bravo.
Bring somebody else up.
We're rooting you on. If not, you need a little help. We just wanted to bring a little encouragement in that department to let you know that there is a such thing as financial intimacy. It's important to discuss it. It's important to live it. It's important to be it. It's important to make sure that you trust your partner in that department and that you're one that can be trusted as well. We hope you have a good Friday, good rest of the weekend. From TheCoreofU, CORE of the letter U. Follow us on Facebook and IG.
And YouTube. We're on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, y'all.
Subscribe to YouTube.
And let's read these last comments from Rashad.
Rashad says, remember your circumstances are not the same as others when thinking you can afford something. I like that.
Oh, you know what? It's only a good deal if you can afford it. I don't know how you might be like, oh my God.
Wait, say that again.
It's only a good deal if you can afford it. I don't want to hear my husband come home and tell me it's a 70-inch TV on sale for $2,500. If you don't have $2,500 set aside for the buy the TV account, it's not a good deal for you.
Right. No doubt. She says that often. No doubt.
Right.
No doubt. And then he also says, don't try keeping up with the Joneses. Live within your means.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's important.
So many relationships go under trying to keep up with what other couples are doing or what other people are doing in their relationships or their businesses. Don't do that, man. I mean, it's always good to talk to people and find out how they got things and learn their ways and their methods. That's amazing. That's what we're all here for, right? That's what we're all here for as a community, to help one another. That's why we're doing this video, to help encourage. Maybe this is something you're in a new relationship right now, or you're thinking about being in a relationship. Maybe this is something you haven't talked about yet, a discussion you haven't had. You need to have that discussion. Maybe you've been in a relationship a very long time. This is something you need to go back and just revisit. Talk about it again. See what's going on. It's very, very important to have these kinds of discussions because it will only make your intimacy so much better with one another.
And if a partner has made you feel a certain way in that area, voice it. Voice it at a time when you're not in the heat of the discussion,
Right.
but when you can really say to one another, look, this made me feel that way and this is why. And so, let's keep it going. Let's keep this dialogue going. But remember, you are in partnership and there is such a thing as financial IQ and financial intimacy, and you have to nurture it along with the other aspects of your union, and start with self. If that's an area where you need to do work, put it out there. So you should not be the one paying the bills. Right?
Yep, it was definitely, hey, I come from the country, man. We didn't have much. So when I got a little money, it was like, I'm spending it because I want it. And I had to rein that in a little bit. Now, we still enjoy ourselves, make sure that we enjoy the fruits of our labor. But it was definitely, I was definitely work in progress, and I'm still work in progress every day, making sure that we keep the finances tight. Because if you want businesses, if you want that big money, if you want to be able to travel and see the world, which a lot of us want to do, all of these nice things, there's a certain way to get about doing that. If you're not, and even if you are this person that has all this money, there's still a way to plan.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that, babe, because let me say this. Your obligations and your love for people in your life should not take you off your financial vision. And it is so easy because so many of us have people we love and we want to support. But say you're saving for a house or your business, and now your best friend is getting married across country somewhere, and that's easily going to cost you $5,000. You may have to support in another way than attending that wedding during a time where it's going to derail you from your financial goals. And there's a fine balance between this because you want to be present, you want to live life, but at the same time, if you're always a yes to everybody else and not yourself, you can easily find yourself pushing your own timeline out because you're supporting other people, and there's only so many things you can do with your discretionary income.
No doubt.
You got to take care of home, and then you got goals with the rest. So just be observant in that area. I have been guilty of that, especially, supporting other people. And even maybe it didn't hurt me, but it sure didn't allow me to get what I needed to get as quickly. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So it took longer for you to get what you wanted.
It might have took longer, or I could have been using that somewhere else instead of like always saying yes.
Wisdom is the principal thing in all things. So make sure that you choose wisely, and make sure that you have respect for one another and love on one another, but make sure you have the proper communication. We hope that this was encouraging to you. We hope that this was gave you a little bit to think about, something maybe to go home and work on tonight, a little homework for the weekend. We're getting a lot of the comments on here, preparing for my future marriage. Everybody needs a session with y'all. I'm telling you, it was life changing.
We do coaching, and personally and as couples, we love to do it. So y'all know we're here for that too. We don't have it all figured out, but we definitely want to share what we have known to work.
No doubt. Made enough mistakes to tell you at least what not to do. I keep saying that all the time.
Yeah,
all right.
Reverse engineer it.
No doubt. All right. We love y'all. Have a good weekend. From the core of you, Ken and Bianca here. Peace out.